Hi, today we are going to make a pouch cover for a colostomy bag. Now this is the pouch cover I've made previously for my husband in black, and I've made him a couple in blue. Now this one, the buttonholes that I made did not come out correctly, so I didn't bother giving it to him. But the main idea for a pouch is it slips in. This is next to the skin, the pouch is attached to the body. This slips over it and just hangs so that you aren't seeing the feces that is filling the bag. So today we are making this one. This one is a little bigger, yes, and it's a little lopsided, but I've changed the buttonholes to see if it works a little better for my husband. So we'll see if it does or not. But this is the part of the bag that you would see of the pouch cover that hangs down either in front of their pants or is tucked inside of their pants. A lot of folks, depending on where their colostomy is, my husband's is right next to his belly button, belt line, so you can't really put it in the pants. So he has his bag hang on the outside so that what you see is just this, the black or the blue. And this is not meant to show you a professional ostomy pouch, because there are people who make these for a living, sell them on Etsy, Amazon, other places. And you certainly don't have to make your own, but you know, I'm a sewer. I'm going to do what a sewer does. That's just the way I roll. You know how it is. So, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you learned something. Sewing is pretty forgiving. If I need to make this bag a little smaller, I can very easily. But just by changing where I put this bottom flap. So, yeah, I hope you enjoy it. And, y'all, be kind. I'm not a professional. I'm not a professional teacher, and I'm not meant to be a professional teacher. I'm just showing you what I learn as I go. All right, that's it, guys. Hi, it's Jane with SewScraptastic, and today we are going to make a pouch cover for an ostomy bag. I'm going to show you how to draft one of those. Because ostomy bags come in all different sizes and all different flavors. Alright, now this ostomy bag is a one-piece bag, and this is the cover that I've made for my husband previously. Now, I am going to round off this edge a little differently instead. But here is the back piece, and this is the piece that goes up against the skin. You'll see there's a flap there. And my husband had wanted buttonholes, and this was a mistake. This one was a mistake. And basically, when the person is wearing the pouch, this is against their skin. And the way that a pouch cover goes on is you will slide that up over your pouch. Of course, you don't have as many problems. And then the pouch will set in there. And the reason that you have the flap here is so that when the person needs to empty the bag or to burp it, they are able to. Most of them come with what they call refoldable flaps. This is a different flap. This is an older type flap, and it is one we bought while we were waiting on the bag, on our bags my husband actually uses. So these are just backup bags in case of an accident, or we run out and we're waiting for them to be ordered. But to burp a bag, they would open it up like this, To empty it, they would pour water in there with a cup or something, swish it around, empty it into the toilet, repeat a couple times till it's good and clear. Then they would take a little roll of toilet paper, roll it up, and wipe the inside so you don't get that lovely odor. And then they would close their flap up again. This one is a little different than the one that he actually has. Now, the reason people like to have flap covers is pouch covers, as you can see, one side is clear, and this is the side that's out to the public, so that you'll see all the items that are emptied into it, and nobody wants to see poo. So we are going to draft a pattern from this. Now, you will need a piece of paper. A regular sheet of paper you can use, but you may find that it's not wide enough for your bag, so you may need to tape a couple of pieces together this way and as well as this way, because you are going to add to it. It may be wide enough. This is a sewer's dream. This is the Reynolds Wrap freezer paper. And I use it in my sewing room all the time. You will also need a ruler. You will need a marking tool. I am using a Sharpie so you can see it. Pen, pencil is fine. Paper scissors. Fabric scissors when you get to the fabric part. Pins and or clips. Fabric. A sewing machine. Thread. All the items that you might possibly need. Alright, we're going to get started here in a second. Let me see if I can get some more lights on this. Alright, there's a little more light there. Let's hope it's enough. First of all, the first thing you're going to do is you actually need to have a couple layers of paper. I always make sure that I have a total of at least 3 layers of paper. There are 4 of this, and you'll understand why when I get back to the second part of that. First of all, you are going to lay your piece out on your piece of paper, and you are simply going to begin to draw around your entire piece. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. If you want perfection, you can go for perfection. What I want is basically the shape, because then I'm going to add to my shape. Okay? Now, I know that I want to round the bottom part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find something that is round and use it to help with that portion. And here we just happen to have a little let's roll with it. So I'm going to bring that down like this. Gonna have to make sure it goes around the edge of that. Now we have more of a rounded shape. Okay? Now you're going to take your ruler. And the reason you need your ruler is you're going to mark an inch around your entire piece. And the reason that you want to do that is you need 1/4 of an inch for sewing. But you also need room for when the bag is full of contents. Now you can do a little larger if you want. And I usually do about 1 1/8, just 'cause. And you're just going to go along and you're going to mark that all the way up. And all the way around. Now I'm going to do that, and then I will meet you in just a few seconds when we've got that finished. Alright, for some reason that stopped. Next you're going to cut out all 4. You throw away your excess or hang on to it, either way. Now, this one you want to set aside. We'll work on that next. This one you're going to flip over this way. And here's what you want to do. Now you want to mark one of these. A, outer, cut 1. That is your outer piece. That's ready to just be set aside. Now you're going to need your other pieces, because now we need to cut the opening. Figure out where we're going to put that opening. You're going to need your bag again. And here's what I do. I simply, you see this? There's a little bit of a ridge there. My husband's is an oval shaped. They come round and oval. Now his is a very deep convex, so he needs a deeper well than other people. Some are just right up to the lip and you just have a very small piece that's risen up. What I do here is I actually take my ruler and I am going to measure it from the very top. Let's do it this way. From the very top of that down, and that's about 1 inch. So I know that from the top here I need to go 1 inch. Now, what I always do is I take and I fold it in half, because I want to find the centerpiece. And it's not going to be exact unless you're a perfectionist, but it's close enough. So I find my centerpiece and I will take and mark down 1 inch. And all I do is just put a dot. That's all I do. Then I am going to measure from the side piece here at approximately the center. And I have 1 and it's about right there. So I'm going to say 1 and about 3/8. So then I will come in and I will measure 1 3/8. I said 3/8 and that wasn't correct. It's 5/8. Now you're going to probably assume, but that's not necessary. Mostly it is normally about the same. Yeah, that's close enough to 1.5. Probably 1.5 would work with this one too. Nope, it's not. But you want to get a basis about where it is from this edge here and measure that point. Now, most of these come, I'm going to show you this. This peels away because there's a sticky piece here that goes against the person. Most people, when they pull these off, they have one that they use as a guide to tell them where to cut, you know, on their opening. A lot of them, there are pre-cuts, but a lot of people use these because your stoma does change over time. So usually most of the wound care nurses will prescribe this. So you can take that plastic piece off, and what I have done is simply cut around that lip. So I have 2 pieces. Hope you can see that. And generally what I will do then is I will place this, because I know that is about right in there. Generally I will piece it, place it along there, and then I will draw my line. And since this is oval, I'm going to do my best to stay within that oval. Now I do come in and make it to where it's a little more of an oval. With the round ones are real nice and easy to do. With this piece, you're going to mark this B. Cut 2. And you are going to take your paper scissors, wherever I put them. Probably hid them from myself, and I did. And you're going to cut around that opening. Now, I have seen a lot of people just make a slit from here to here, and you know, they leave it and that fits over, but we tried that and there was a lot of looseness with our piece. The next thing you want to do is you want to make sure that it is going to fit over your lip. You can see that that is definitely going to fit, and it'll work fine. Okay? Now, here's the fun part. Now you get to decide where you're going to put your pocket. Do you want your pocket here, here? Generally, what I will do is I will place the bag there, and I'm going to guesstimate that probably about there is a good place for that pocket. I don't know why I keep putting the cap on. I'm going to guesstimate about there. I'll draw a little line here and a little line here. Now, you want to come down about at least ½ an inch, but I generally go down 3/4 of an inch. And the reason I go down 3/4 of an inch is ½ of an inch is your where you're going to put a hem. The other 1/4 of an inch is where this flap will land downward. So I'm going to mark it here. And I'll do the same over here. And then I am going to draw a line across. Then I am going to take my paper scissors and cut that. Okay. Now you're going to take one of your other ones and you are simply going to place your paper along the bottom of it. I think that was the other side. I hope that was the right side. Going to place your paper along there. I don't like that piece. There we go, that's a little bit better. Now this one you want to measure up a ½ an inch above that cut line. And you can go a little more if you want. Your hem can be a little bigger. But a ½ an inch is good. This one you can throw away. I can get my points at the same point. Down here in this bottom part, you're going to put C. Cut 1. You're done with your marking pen. Cut this. You can put away your paper scissors. You can put away this to use for something else. You now have your 3 pieces to make your bag. Okay? And the way that it goes is this piece is your A piece. Once you have sewn the 2 pieces together, you would lay that this way on it. And then with right sides together like this. After you've got those nice little hems, you would sew it all around the outside. You'd be ready to go. Now let's get to the other part, the sewing part. We don't need this bag. We don't need our ruler and our little cheat sheets. Now we're ready for our fabric. 2 fat 1/4 is probably plenty to make a bag. Generally what I will do is I will lay my fabric down. Normally I would have ironed it, but I haven't. And I know that I'm going to get a back and 2 sides. So I know that that will probably be plenty for one bag. I do go ahead and cut extra, just because you never know. Like I said, 2 fat quarters should make a bag just fine. You only need 1 of these. So take your fabric, place it down, pin it in place, and cut around it. Now your next piece, many times you can get away with folding it in half. Folding your fabric in half, put it nice, right sides together. And you could simply cut it along the fold with a second fold. Generally what I do is I just look to make sure I can get my piece out of this. And I certainly can. And I can do it this way as well, so it'll be in the right orientation for the fabric print. Cut your fabric out. Now you only need 1 of this piece. It'll fit perfectly fine right there. Pin. Now cut your fabric out, and then we'll be ready to go. After I've got it all cut out, I'll join you, and then we'll get to the next part. And here is the bonus with using freezer paper. Because it has a wax background, you can actually iron this to your fabric, so it's easier cutting out. Now I have gone ahead and cut my fabric, and that is right side up, top to the top. Now I pinned my pieces together that has the opening, and then what I did is because I know I'm not going to turn them up 1/4 of an inch on each deal and do a hem, separate hem, because I'll show you what I normally do with that. What I do is I go ahead and fold up on both sides, wrong sides together, bit of a hem. Now this one in the bottom, I have already done that. Now we're going to take it to the machine. You're going to sew a hem here. But on this piece, you're not going to sew the hem. Don't do that yet. What you're going to do is you're going to sew right around here, and I hope you remember to cut your opening. You are going to sew 1/4 of an inch from this edge all the way around. I go around twice. Then what I do is I flip it over to make sure I got all the edges. Okay? I'm going to go do that sewing, and then I will be back with you in just a moment. Alright, here is where the fun part starts. You can remove your pin, and then you want to clip your curves. You just clip all the way around, make sure you don't cut into your stitches. And you see I wasn't perfect on my stitching. Got a little way out there on some of it. It will work fine. Now, when I am making these, you'll see I have not clipped my threads. I really don't worry about those threads. The reason being is once we turn this, you'll see it doesn't really matter if the threads are in there or not, because they're not going to be in your way. Now, the fun part begins, because you're basically going to take this and you are going to take one, bring it through the hole, so that you now have your wrong sides together. And then you're going to take, and generally I just finger press. Press all the way around. Getting that as nice as you can. When it starts giving me a little difficulty there, I go back over to this side. Start doing a little finger pressing there. Now, here, I also take it and I do one more round around this way. The reason is it'll help this to lay a little flatter against the skin. It'll even out those little pouches. And you could take it to the iron and iron it. Or you could simply have one of these little finger pressers. And then, while you're at it, since you've got this already folded in, you can sew those together. Make sure they meet up correctly. And you can sew along that bottom edge, close up that seam. And I'm going to do that now, and I will be back with you in just a moment once I've got that done. Alright, the stitching is complete. Now I have joined the bottom, and I've done 2 lines of stitching on the bottom just because, for reassurance. Now once again, you do want to double check to make sure it is going to fit over your bag. It's nothing worse than making a pouch that doesn't fit on the bag. And that should be fairly easy. Now, my husband likes buttonholes, so I need to put some buttonholes in here. As you can see, there are some clips here. It's an area for him to use a belt to help hold that up in a little more secure fashion, which he uses. So I'm going to put some buttonholes on the side of mine, and I am going to decide where I want those buttonholes. Here. I do know that they need to be fairly in the center. Need to be about right there. And that pin's not going to work, so let's see if we can get this one to work. This is a friction pin, so I know I need to put a buttonhole about right there. He's got another one over here. So I know I need to put a buttonhole about there. See, in the past I was putting them up and down. I don't think that works as well as putting them sideways. This is a new adventure for us to see if it works. Now I'm going to go do those buttonholes, and then I will be back with you in just a moment. You do not have to do buttonholes. If you make your opening large enough, they should be able to fasten the belt through there. But this is just personal preference, so that's what we're going to do. And if you make even if you make your hole even bigger, it will still sit on this. And you'll still be able to get the bag on. And plus you should have room to put your tabs in there. This is just the design of this one, so that's why we put the buttonholes there. Alright, I'll be back with you and then we'll do the last 2 steps. Alright, now we're ready to put our pieces together. You're going to lay your back side down. You're going to decide which side of this you want to be your right side or your back side. You will lay that down next on top of it. Then you will take your bottom piece. Oops. And clip my little leader off. Then you will take that and place it right sides down. And let's see. What did I do wrong? Nothing. I give myself that little extra just because I know that that's going to happen. Now you can pin your pieces into place. As you can see, the bag will fit perfectly fine in there once we get it sewn with plenty of room. So don't forget about that. Now I do know that I want this to be on the inside and this outer on the outside. Doesn't really matter. But then you're going to pin it into place or clip, whichever your little heart desires. See, I always give myself extra room when I'm making the first draft because I know there will be boo-boos. It's not a perfect science with these pouches. Now, generally what I will do is I'll go ahead and trim off some of the excess here because I know that I do not need that. As well as down here in the bottom. But I left myself plenty of room just in case. Now your next step is take it to the sewing machine. Doesn't matter where you start on this. And sew all the way around. I generally do 1/4 inch. Roughly. Sometimes it's a little more. But generally 1/4 inch is good. And then what I do is I follow that up with a zigzag stitch all around the outside so that there's not a lot of fraying. And then we'll get to that next step, the very last step, which is the easiest step of all. And we have reached the final step. The final step is simply to turn it to where your right sides are all out. And you could certainly take this over to the yarn, give it a good press. But once you have finished, you now have a colostomy bag pouch cover. Now, you can refine this down further for yourself. I know lots of times a lot of people will just do a nice little edge right around here, 1/8 of an inch around, to help hold that down. And I have done that on a lot of these bags here, just so that it helps to hold that fold in. Now, I've not pressed this yet, but I will press it. But the main thing is your bag will fit in there. Now, this is a nice big roomy one, maybe for the Thanksgiving meal. But it works. Now you've got a nice little cover. When people see you coming, this is what they see hanging outside of your clothing. They don't see the stool. They don't see anything yucky. They just see this nice little pouch there. Like I said, you can make these a little smaller, a little bigger, but you do want to remember that as the bag fills, that it will pooch out. So you do need to make sure that you've left enough room for that to happen. You know, depending on who you're making this for and how often they empty their bags. A lot of people empty their bags quite often so that they don't have it so heavy. But yeah, this is a great way to make a bag to start out. Now, as you can see, this is larger, so I will probably go back down and refine my bag, my pattern just a little bit more. Tweak it just a tiny bit so it's not as big. But first of all, we're going to let my husband try it and see if that works for him. If it does, then I'll leave my pattern alone. If I need to tweak it a little more, I will. If I need to add more to my extra pieces here, you know, if I need to add a little more, I'll tape some more paper on there to give it a little more room. But generally, it's pretty good this way. Usually, there's no other issues. This is a pattern I made previously. So, if I need to add more, you can add paper to the bottom. You can add, you know, paper there. You can add paper around the back side of your piece of paper, whatever you need. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was helpful. This is not meant to be a professional series. This was basically showing you how I made my first, drafted my pouch, and from there I refined it down to something better, something that worked much better for my husband. But that is the basics of how to make a pouch cover for someone who has a colostomy bag. And yeah, that's it. All right, everybody, have a great day, and thank you for watching this video. Thank you for subscribing, and I hope to see you again soon. Everybody have a great day, and remember, let's be kind to one another.